button, ready to do a brand new episode. Here it is of Bid Nerds. Welcome, everybody. It's a Tuesday morning. This is a Tuesday edition of the Bid Nerds where we nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer and all the enthusiast automotive auction websites. My name is John Polnick, and we're doing this from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm on the Strip. We are in downtown Las Vegas. It snowed in Las Vegas last night. Not right here downtown,
Amazing.
but outer areas got a little dusting. My partner Michael Deeb, who you see right next to me, he's coming to you from San Francisco, foggy San Francisco Bay. How you doing, Michael Deeb? What's going on this morning?
Excellent, JP. Actually, on a boat yesterday up at Lake Marietta. Esther, we're expecting 2 weeks of solid rain here, so Esther and I want to make sure that the cover was on the boat properly, so we don't, fill it like a bathtub.
Nice. All right. Well, that's a good idea. You don't want to find your boat at the bottom of the lake. They're supposed to be at the top.
No.
Apparently, that's how boats work or something. I don't know. I'm not a nautical guy. Not a nautical guy. This is Bid Nerds. This is a show about cars, not boats. So. What do I know? All right. So, yeah, guys, if you're new to the show, this is the show where we pick a bunch of cars that are coming up on the auction block today, and we discuss those cars. We review them, and we make, I think the most important thing that we do is we make predictions about what these cars will or will not sell for, and we keep track of our predictions, and we have a little bit of a competition. We do this every day, and the first thing we do on the show is we go over how we did the previous day, and let me just tell you, the previous week, last week, I murdered it. This week, a little bit of murder being bestowed upon me. Deeb, you had a very good day yesterday. Before we get to yesterday's cars, if you're brand new, you probably saw the thumbnail for the 6-speed manual Cayenne that's coming up on the auction today. We will definitely be talking about that first. But first, let's do yesterday's cars. Michael Deeb, what did we talk about yesterday?
Well, interesting, JP. Our star car yesterday was this unbelievably clean 2000 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, a car that I pined for. My first job at Mercedes-Benz was right when these cars were being offered new in 1999, and this was everything. This was the coolest car I can remember seeing. So I still have a massive crush on this car. And this one I picked because it was just so dang clean. Look at that. It looks like a brand new car. 29,000 miles. I thought this car might have some legs. I was going to guess 36,000. You were a little bearish on it and said 35. You bet underneath me. And this car had a very nice run at the close of auction, and it sold for $40,250. So our star car probably setting a high water mark for a used early first edition, normally aspirated E55 AMG. So congratulations to the seller and the buyer on that one. I think it was very well sold, and the buyer might be, he might have paid the top of the market today, but I imagine a lot more of these will come to market with this new high water mark, and he may have himself a nice little deal.
Unbelievable car, but I mean that is beyond all the money for one of these. I just no way in hell would I have thought that this car would have hit that high. Are you familiar with a forum website called 6-Speed Online?
I am, but I don't spend a lot of time there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not a super popular forum, unlike Renlist or Pelican or even the Samba and stuff like that.
F-Chat.
Yeah, exactly. 6-Speed Online has been around a long time, and it's one of the forums that I hit almost more often than almost any of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird because people, with Renlist and Pelican, people are so like, I guess 6-Speed is more agnostic. It's more about all kinds of cars. A lot of Ferrari, a lot of Porsche, Aston, all the cool stuff. But whereas, you go on Renlist and it's just obviously nothing but Porsches, and they're all kind of anal about it. Same thing with Pelican.
I would have pegged you for a VW Vortex or a Samba guy myself.
I am a VW Vortex member, but I can't remember the last time I logged on there. The Samba for sure. Bimmer forums. If there's any forum that I probably have more, look up Producer John on Bimmer forums, and you will see thousands of posts. Used to be very involved in that community back in the day. But 6-Speed Online, the reason why I brought up all these forums, 6-Speed Online has one of these right now.
Yeah.
And yes, it has 90,000 miles on it.
Right,
But the
right.
photos of the car, it's for sale. The guy has it for sale, and
Yeah.
the photos of the car are amazing. And there are multiple photos of the engine completely out of the car. They just rebuilt it and put it
Wow.
back in. Like with, I
Yeah.
think we're talking like 1,000 or 2,000 miles on this
Yeah.
car, and it looks every bit as nice as this one that we saw on Auction Block
That's
yesterday.
high praise. That's high
Yeah,
praise.
I mean, it is a super nice E55, and let me
Right.
tell you, the asking price is less than 20. Go on to 6 Feet
Yeah,
Online
yeah.
and check it out if you're
There
interested
you
in one.
go.
He's like, to me, I'm like on 40 for this one.
Yeah.
And
Crazy,
and I could
huh?
go get that one for 16. Which way do I point?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it. But
Right.
anyways,
Yeah.
there it is.
That's a hot take. That's a Bid Nerds exclusive. Go
There
to
it is.
Speed
Bid
Online.
Nerds exclusive. You
And
want this
you can-
car? Get it for half price, and it's probably a better one because it was just rebuilt.
Wow, there you go. All right.
All
Well,
right.
anyways,
Yeah.
so we witnessed, I think, history being made. I agree with you, JP. That was probably a high watermark for the early E55 AMGs. So congratulations again. We also looked at cars and bids. We looked at a 1984 Volkswagen GTI, a Mark I that had me scratching my head. JP, I think this car was sitting at like $6,700 or $6,800 yesterday, and I thought that was already all the money because it seemed like there was so little of this car left to make it a Mark I. Different wheels, different steering wheel, different seats. The only thing left on it that was original was the GTI badge and the golf ball shifter. I mean, it was crazy. Tinted windows. It looked like a bad repaint job. I as much as I'm totally feeling GTIs right now, this car really bugged me. I was upset about it. So I said $6,900. You slotted it underneath me. Now, I can't remember if you bid 100 over what we saw the car at or if you just said it was going to hold pat, but you said $6,800. This car sold for $7,000. So I won, but by the skinniest of margins, JP.
Yeah.
I mean, we were both all over that this car wasn't going anywhere, and we were both right. I technically won this one, but you and I agreed this car had no future, and I don't. Man, that's crazy.
If I had played really tight and played my, the whole thing like, okay, I'm going to go $100 over you. I went $100 under you, and I could have easily 50-50 gone $100
Right.
over you, and I would have gotten a Yahtzee,
Yahtzee,
which would have been needed yesterday because that was, I think, was the only, So
we should. I think that I'm getting this just in. I think we're going to have to rename the Yahtzee the Polnick because you're the only one that ever gets them. I never get the fucking Yahtzees. Yeah. So anyway.
Every dog has his day. This car could have. I mean, I don't know. There is as whooped up as this car is. $7,000 is certainly too much, but some period correct wheels and a couple other things. I bet this car drives great. It's got the new speed strut tower brace and all that kind of fun stuff. I bet it's a kick. I bet it drives like a Mark I GTI, and that's got to be fun. So we'll give it that. I guess give it something.
Yeah, I mean, 200,000 miles on the car. I like I said, the car bugged me. I was without droning on. I was wondering if that was a car Doug DeMuro should say no to or not.
Yeah,
is it too far gone to be something that's real collectible? Because it's just a hack job.
Well, there it is. We know Doug DeMuro watches every day religiously. He is a bid nerd. He has the only existing bid nerd T-shirt. I'm sure he's watching right now. So, Doug, let me tell you, you guys got to be a little bit more selective on the cars that you're allowing on cars and bids because it's slipping out there, brother. It's slipping.
JP, at the fear of sounding political, are we Doug DeMuro's Fox News?
We might be. Yeah, there you go.
We influence from the inside out. Okay, jumping back over to Bring a Trailer.
Fake auction.
Jumping back over to Bring a Trailer. We looked at a pretty cool 1987 Porsche 911 Cabriolet.
I like this one.
This was a beautiful car. If I remember correctly, JP, correct me if I'm wrong. It had AC, had sports seats, had limited slip differential. It was Grand Prix white with Grand Prix white painted center Fuchs, which was an option, and this car had it. Reasonable miles, like 62,000 or something. And yet it only had 3 bids when we reviewed it several hours before the close of auction. So I was very nervous on this one. I had written overnight $54,000. And then when we reviewed it on the show, I changed my bid down to 47. And I think I put a damper on yours because you bid underneath me. Again, reading the tea leaves that there wasn't a lot of action on the car, but that it potentially could have a late flurry. You guessed 42, well underneath me. Well, this car sold for what it was worth. It went for $56,500. Obviously enjoyed a long and late rally to close. I would say very well sold and honestly pretty well bought because it looked by all accounts to be a clean example with great options and the G50 transmission, which is probably maybe the biggest selling point of all. It just had a very weird week and had its entire action in the final hours. So sometimes that happens on Bring a Trailer.
And that's the thing is we talked about that yesterday. And the dumb thing for me, given that I underbid, is that I'm the one that said it. It's like I've always been the one that's like, hey, look, especially with Porsches, they get late rallies on Bring a Trailer because the Bring a Trailer crowd was built by old Porsche people, and they all know that there's no use in bidding early. There's just no use in why would you bid the day before or 4 hours before or 6 hours before if you are serious about the car? Why would you bother? I mean, it just seems silly. Wait till the very last minute and see how far it goes. It's just, I don't know. But
I want to tell our audience that the hyphen goes between old and Porsche and not between Porsche and people.
I was wondering if you were going to pick that up.
Old Porsche people, not old Porsche people.
There's an argument for both sides of that hyphen, my man. I think it could probably, two things can be true at the same time. I don't know if the hyphen is needed. Apply adjectives as needed.
Old Porsche people.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Just rolls off the dentures.
Is there any color of car other than white or black that the wheels should be legally allowed to be painted the same color as the body? Right, correct.
I take maybe, and this is a real stretch. Maybe dark, like a dark gray.
No, the color match though. Match though. No.
So Clay Carr's father. Oh my God. Why can't I think of his name? Oh my God, Mr. Carr. Anyway, he did it. He's got Fuchs. He's got a dark gray metallic Carrera, a G-body Carrera, and his Fuchs are completely painted the color of the car. And it looks kind of tough, but it's not for me.
A neutral color, like you could say silver, I suppose, but that's just kind of like the color of the wheel anyway. But look, if you have a white car, if you have a red car or blue car or yellow car, do not. I'm looking at you. Pleated pants Porsche guy who thinks that he's gonna color match his yellow C4S with his wheels. Don't abort. Stop.
I am of the camp that Fuchs should only be one colorway, and that is when you have a completely anodized lip and pedal with black webbing, a la RSR. Think of the wide, like the really deep dish Fuchs on an RSR. That's, to me, the only way the Fuchs should be. I don't even like the ones that are on my car, which is why I bought the 1552 wheels.
I don't know. I'm a pretty big fan of all the different Fuchs variants typically, and I had those all black Fuchs on my black Targa last year, and I just thought that was the bomb. That looked so good. But anyways, all right. This is Bid Nerds. This is the kind of thing that you can expect from Bid Nerds. We have a topic, we have a plan, we have a show program, and we just ditch it. And we start talking about the colors of wheels, and it's bad. It's
in favor of opinion. And with the irony is that we're talking about the color of Fuchs wheels. This might be the best show we've ever done.
It's possible. That's why it's your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day and a bunch of other crap that we just come up with. All right, we got to move on.
This is your moment now. 2006 Dodge Ram SRT 10. This 500 horsepower V10. The big news here, this is a regular cab, not the quad cab. Manual gearbox only in this one. 1,400 original miles. One of 1,800 quad cabs for 06. Only one of 200 in this metallic black paint job. 1,400 miles. And this auction was going bananas. And I read the tea leaves wrong. So while maximum dollar on the book value for this thing is like $45,000, our car was sitting while we were reviewing it at auction at like $76,000. And so I thought this car might have still another late flurry at the close of auction. And I said 82,000. JP followed me up there and said 80. This car, I don't think, got another bid. It actually closed at where we were reviewing it at $76,000. Incredibly well sold. Congratulations to the seller. Incredible job, JP. You won one yesterday. But my God, this buyer, you should go straight to the doctor and get your head examined. This is bizarre to me that you spend this much money on a Viper truck, SRT 10. Good luck with that. I don't think another one will bring that kind of money. This is not going to bring up the value of SRT 10s. It's just going to flood the market with them, which is going to bring values down. This is a terrible exercise, but the power of BAT, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be the most fun truck ever made, though. I mean,
sure.
If you're going to buy a American pickup truck, that a manual V10, come on, it's a Viper with a pickup truck. You can move furniture and do donuts at the same time.
The brand new Dodge Ram has a full off-road package with an engine upgrade that gets you a 700 horsepower
Isn't
thing.
that the Hellcat powertrain?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dodge makes the coolest trucks, no doubt. But this one is still not worth $76,000. That was poorly bought. Congratulations to the seller. And then our final car of the day also fooled us both. The 1965 Buick Wildcat convertible. I was just a little bearish on this car because it had a color change, and they said that there had been some rust and that there was like an impact in the front quarter. And I thought, okay, so the lower end of the values for these is in the $20,000 range. But this car, cosmetically as it sits, is all done. It doesn't need anything. And I really misread it. The top is beautiful. The paint is beautiful. The engine compartment is beautiful. The interior looks like new. And man, where would you find another Buick Wildcat convertible in this condition? So the higher end values of this car, this is where this one wound up. So I said 23,000, and somehow you slotted your bid in underneath me. If you had just gone 1,000 above me, you would have won this one, because this car had a beautiful late flurry to bring the value to where this car should sell, for $37,000. So congratulations to the seller and to the buyer. Buyer's got himself basically a restored car, and the seller got his money back, or as much money back as he possibly could. That's every penny for that car. Well done. I had four wins. JP had one.
I did say yesterday that I would have been happy to lose that one, because I wanted to see this car go for more. I felt like the market for this car, the buyer for this car, there's very few of them. I mean, it's pretty much just boomers. Nobody young wants this car. The market for this car is shrinking rapidly, and I do have a little bit of love for these because of my personal connection to one. My best friend in high school had one, and we had a lot of fun in that car. But even I can be nostalgic about the car, and I don't want it. I mean, I'm not going to go out and ever buy one of these, even whatever. But I did not want to see it just be worth nothing, and glad to see that I lost my. I'm glad to be wrong on this one.
Yeah, the question I asked you was, what year and what was the high water mark for a Buick Wildcat convertible? Was it 60,000? Was it 3 years ago, or was it 10 years ago?
Had to have been 10 years ago when all the Corvettes and all that kind of stuff were popping up. Yeah, I mean,
interesting, very very interesting. So, anyways, well done. We've got some cool cars today, JP, and we even have one on P-Car. What do you think, man?
Is P-Car paying you now? You're always picking cars on P-Car Market. They're I guess they're coming up. They're doing a little better. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Bid Nerds, the most interesting, where we nerd out about the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. Make sure if you haven't subscribed or hit the like button yet, do that now. Hit the notification button and spread the word that we do this every day at around the 9 or 10 o'clock hour, Monday through Friday. It's time to get to the cars today. We just kind of went over our picks yesterday and our predictions and saw how wrong and right we were. Let's talk about some pretty darn interesting cars today. Our first car of the day, you saw in the thumbnail, is a take it away. Oh, looks like I lost my partner there momentarily. Oh, he's back. Yeah. The little gizmo thing kind of lost you there. Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulty here. Let's take just a quick second to get where I need to go, and boom, there it is. Tell us what we're looking at, Michael D.
All right, so we are looking at a 2009 Porsche Cayenne GTS. But JP, you and I both have a massive soft spot in our heart for this car, because this was, to the best of our knowledge, the coolest SUV you could buy in the United States that was available with a 6-speed manual transmission. And our car today, offered to us out of Dallas, Texas, has 126,000 miles, and most importantly, is equipped with a 6-speed manual, making this a pretty rare bird indeed. These E1 platform Cayennes, I actually think, JP, correct me if I'm wrong, are starting to come up a little bit. The nice ones are sort of rising to the top. I think the forum that Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids offers sort of brings these cars to a better national audience, and so some of these cars are really having their due. Lower mile versions of this car have been bringing upwards of $40,000, and that's amazing for an E1 platform Cayenne. Am I wrong in saying that?
Well, I mean, are you referring to just the I mean, not 6-cylinder, but the 6-speed ones, or Cayennes in general? Yeah, I mean, 6-speed Go ahead.
Any E1 platform Cayenne that brings $40,000 is worthy of remark. You know, I mean, that's crazy.
Well, that's the thing, and it's only the 6-cylinder. I keep saying 6-cylinder, but it's only the 6-speed ones that are doing that. The regular ones are kind of, they're just kind of going down on their regular depreciation curve. Although it feels like even regular ones are kind of getting a little bit more love. But the E1 6 speeds have seen over the course of the last year, and it's been a solid year, where numbers have just been kind of nuts. And actually, I think they're flattening out. I think that we saw the peak. It seemed like about a year ago when someone sold one of these on Bring a Trailer, it got some national attention. People still to this day, now, full disclosure, I own a 6-speed manual Cayenne. I don't have a GTS. I did actually own one of these for a little bit.
Right, that was a cool car.
And I will tell you, it is one of my most favorite Porsches I've ever driven. Not just because it's not the fastest Porsche I've ever driven, but it's just a weird experience to be in a vehicle that size. You can feel how heavy it is, but to be able to throw it around and row through the gears, and they're surprisingly easy to heel toe. The handling is just It's just belays your mind. Just can't wrap your head around how good it is. We did the Overton run, which is a 60-mile twisty road thing that we do all the time out here in Vegas. It's one of our only good runs. I followed a couple of GT3 RSs out on that thing, and they're just like, you're right there the whole time. I'm like, I know, it's crazy.
That run is 100-mile-an-hour fast sweepers. And in a Cayenne GTS you can totally keep up. My friend Jeff Harley used to work at the Porsche dealership, and when this car was brand new, he goes, Michael, I got to take you for a test drive in the GTS. And it was a stick, and we got on to a freeway on-ramp, and he threw it in there so fast, I, for a second, thought I was going to die. I couldn't believe how much speed he carried into a complete, corkscrew on-ramp where we folded under the on-ramp and got onto the freeway. And, I mean, I was literally hanging on to the oh shit handles, and that thing, the tires didn't even screech. I mean, it was unbelievable how well that car hooked up. They are really something special. And like you said, JP, with the proliferation of these cars coming to Bring a Trailer, they're bringing crazy money. And
they brought crazy money. So like every single one of them that was out there, everyone that had one was like, oh wait, they're literally worth twice as much as a regular GTS. Hell yeah, I'm going to sell it. And here's the thing, between 2004 and 2014, so that does include the next generation of Cayenne, they made 600 manuals.
Wow.
That's it. So across all the platforms, the only vehicle that you could get the manual in was either the base. You could get the regular Cayenne base, or you could get the GTS. They never put a manual in an S. They never put a manual in any of the turbo configurations. So
that's right. Yeah.
So out of all of those, you had 600 manuals, and then whittle that down to however many GTS. I have not been able to find out how many GTSs actually have manuals. It's got to be less than a couple hundred. But it seems like we've seen every single one of them for sale on Bring a Trailer.
Well, I still think if another nice one comes to market with like less than 60,000 miles, we may see another $40,000 sale. I mean, JP, this car is sitting here. We've talked a long time about it, but it is really it's really interesting. Two sets of wheels, 126,000 miles. It doesn't mention much on like recent service. But here it is. Where do you find another one? It's pretty nice, and it's already at $23,750, which I think is high for a car with that many miles on it. Am I wrong?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it were a regular GTS, it would be, it would be sitting on Craigslist or at some car lot for 16 or 17. It'd be $15,000 car. And this vehicle definitely has probably a ways to go. It's the right color combination and black on black. Did you notice which sunroof this one has? Does it have the panoramic or the regular one?
I didn't. I think it's just the regular one.
Well, I should hope so, because the panoramic one is pretty problematic. It leaks all the time, and it's kind of funny. The panoramic sunroof on that thing is that big glass deal, and it's got these rails, and they're prone to leaks. And if you go to a Porsche dealership, they'll charge you like $2,800 to repair it. And Dwayne Wick, shout out to our friend Dwayne Wick. Dwayne Wick and I literally for about $1.50 washers, we just pulled the rails out, cleaned the gutter, put new little rubber washers in there, put it back in, and literally 4 freaking bolts, and it was fine. But anyways, that's a whole other story. I love this car. I do have a 6-speed manual Cayenne that's a base that we're going to be talking about soon, because it is also, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to be selling my 6-speed base manual Cayenne right here on Bring a Trailer, and I'm going to do it with no reserve, so look out for that. That's coming. And we did some really cool stuff to this car.
Can we tease the Bid Nerd audience with the theme of your livery, or is that meant to be?
Tell him. Why not? I
So
should have had a picture loaded up.
JP sent me photos after he got. It's not a wrap, but it's a decal livery, and it's very Porsche Motorsport. And I'm telling you, man, people are gonna love it. They're gonna lose their mind, because it's definitely a one of one. I've never seen anything like it, and it looks beautiful. Yeah,
we got to take it out in the snow, out in the mountains yesterday. It was a very, very good time. Boy, this car, I am just so stoked about this car. But 23,000. Where do you think it's going to land in a couple hours?
I don't think this one's going to break 30, but I've been wrong many times before on the show. I'm going to say $28,000, and that gives it another $5,000. But it could break 30 just because it is triple black. It's got 2 sets of wheels, and it doesn't have any accidents. It's a 6-speed, so there you go. Maybe. Yeah,
without getting into, I'd like to know if the shafts have been done. I'd like to know. It does look like it has the small sunroof, so that's good. I'd like to know if it had, the drive shafts and fuel pump and a bunch of other, normal stuff that goes wrong with them. If those things have been taken care of and the maintenance is up to date, then this should be this. We've seen these with the same miles in the past over the course of the last year. We've seen these go for in the high 30s, even with this amount of miles. I think those days are over. I still think I'm going to hope that it breaks 30, just because I'm hoping that this market is still there. Even though this one and mine are 2 very different things. One thing we haven't seen on Bring a Trailer is we have not seen a base manual on Bring a Trailer. Right. It's always been GTSs, so I'm excited to put mine out there. So you said 28. I'm gonna go 29 and just hope it gets up to 30, and all right. Just for my 6-speed manual brethren, we're putting the juju out there for them. All right. What do we got? What's next?
All right, keeping with the Porsche theme, let's jump over to our friends at P Car Market, because they have brought to market out of Hillsborough County. 1994 Porsche 968 Cabriolet. JP, this car has 61,000 miles on it, but it is the 6-speed manual. And I would be willing to bet you lunch somewhere in Vegas that most of the 968 convertibles, like more than half of them, are automatic equipped. And so when we see one that's got the 6-speed manual, I think that's kind of a big deal and worth taking a second look at. This particular car was equipped with a limited slip differential, meaning this car would be a great vehicle to drive on a back road. It has the Cup 2 wheels, the 17-inch Cup 2 wheels. I am a huge fan of the Cup 1s. I don't like the Cup 2s very much at all. But that's
nobody does, because Cup 2s are no good. No bueno.
Yeah, I just don't like them. But this is a normally aspirated car. This was the direction some of the people that worked at Porsche, as far as the marketing and engineering department, thought that the company would go, and that the 911 would die off. But that's just not what happened. This wound up being the last of a certain breed. And so we kind of look back on them fondly. 944s and 968s, I think, are really cool. I've never owned one, and I really want one. And so I thought it'd be fun to take a look at this particular car. The yellow paint job and the black interior is actually really cool, in my opinion. What do you think, JP? Is this a nice car, or am I just losing my mind?
No, it is a really nice car, and yeah, I mean 968s are great. I mean, look, the 944, the 924S, that was just a great platform, the perfect balance, and this had the best engine configuration out of any of them. This color combination doesn't really do it for. I'm not a big yellow car guy, but some people are really into that. I don't know. Everybody knows that I'm a Cabrio fan. I love convertibles and everything. And I'm going to say it, of all the Porsche convertibles, this has got to be my least favorite. This is definitely one that I would rather see in a coupe. I mean, this is...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I actually... Again, I'll go and say it.
I offer you a convertible and you poop on it, JP. So that's what this feels like.
That's a turd nerd right there. Turd nerd being dropped.
Oh man.
No, this car is going to drive great. This is a great, back road cruiser. It is going to be the more fun car to drive probably than a coupe. But I just don't like the way they look. I'm not a big fan of the front end of these. I prefer the 944 with their with the flip up headlights. I think this is one of those situations where a manufacturer tried to take an old design and update it with some modern bits, and instead of making something new and something evolutionary, they made something kind of, I don't know, redundant, and I don't know. It's just, I think it was a miss. It's a rare miss for Porsche, but still a great car. And yeah, I mean,
I agree. The 944, the non-bumper ones like the S2 and the Turbo, they have a great balance and a great stance. Yeah. And there is something displeasing to the eyes about the lines on the 968. Like the wind tunnel dictated a little too much of its final iteration, which is kind of a bummer. But I do like the car. And I love the idea of a normally aspirated, rev happy, go get it.
I mean, a 3-liter, that thing is so great. Man. I mean, this powertrain in an S2 944 would be the way to go. Derivative was the word I was looking for, not
right.
Yeah,
I've driven these and I love them, and I want one at some point. I probably prefer a coupe, but I would take a convertible if it was a stick and had a limited slip differential.
Sure. Because
I think I would drive the snot out of this car. And man, you just can't tell the audience. You can't say enough nice things about how great these cars handle. They really do.
Put a set of turbo twists. And you have that just transforms the look of these. Every car that has these stupid Cup 2s, and it's so weird that Cup 2 should on paper be a great wheel. I mean, that is a good looking, like the wheel by itself. If you just look at that wheel with no car, it's like that should be a fantastic wheel. It's simple, it's minimalist, it's a 5-spoke kind of thing with very little going on. And I love the idea of it, but they just never look good on any car, especially when you compare it to a Cup 1 or the turbo twists. Turbo twists on this car look fantastic. Anyways,
if it were my money, I would go with the I can't even think of the name of it, but those Speedline wheels, the 18-inch Speedline wheels that were on the 964 3.8 RS.
Yeah, well, but those were basically, I mean, sure, but that makes sense because, one, they're absurdly expensive, but they're Cup 1s with a dish. So, I mean, all right, you're basically saying the same thing.
Exactly.
I bet if you put a dish on one of these, if you cut that face out and put a deep dish on one of these, then a Cup 1 would probably work. Because really a normal Speedline wheel, the 5-star Speedline wheels are kind of that. I mean, they're very similar. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the next car. We're running a little long on time. Did we get to bids on this? We didn't get to bids on this.
No, so the car is at 28,000. So I'm going to guess on the Porsche 968 Cabriolet with 61,000 miles out of New Hampshire. I'm going to guess Hillsborough County, New Hampshire. I'm going to say $28,000. No, $28,000, JP.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose based on where it's at right now, that kind of makes sense. It's got almost 2 hours to go, but I mean, is one of these gonna break 30 grand? I don't know, man. I mean, 968s just they seem to have less love than first gen 996s. Right. I'm gonna bet the under and go 26.
26, yeah. Well, maybe now's the time
another
to
couple
buy.
Grand, yeah. I mean, it is off season too. If it were spring, it'd be a different story. I'm definitely thinking it would go over 30.
Yeah, if I could find a 968 coupe 6-speed with a limited slip differential, I would buy that car. That'd be
If this were a coupe, I would definitely be I would say 35 or something like that.
Yeah.
Cab.
All right. And just to keep it with the theme of interesting cars, we're going to jump over to Cars and Bids and look at a 2004 Volvo V70R all-wheel drive, 218,000 miles out of Helena, Montana. This is a no reserve auction. Silver car, automatic 5-speed transmission, all-wheel drive, 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 5 that makes, and wait for it, JP, are you ready for this? 300 horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque. These little suckers are a beast. And I have to tell you, JP, I was at a Volvo dealership and got a test drive a T5R wagon in that pastel yellow, which was really kind of the first car I think that Volvo made to sort of improve, like a halo car for the manufacturer, to have something that was sporty. And I fell in love. I thought that was like the coolest car. I couldn't believe how well it handled. I couldn't believe how fast it was. It was just really well balanced. This is an evolution of that platform, I believe, although it looks like it might be a little bit larger car than the old T5R. But here you go. What a great car to have in a climate like Montana, all-wheel drive, and yet it's probably a hoot to drive. It looks like there's 2 sets of wheels there. What do you think, JP? Any love for a Volvo wagon if it makes 300 horsepower?
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I don't hate this car. I mean, do I want one? Do I want this one? I mean, I would definitely like the older generations. I love the R's. That's kind of cool what Volvo's been doing there. But you're still this is the all-wheel drive one, right? So
right.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great utility car. It's certainly better than pretty much any sport utility on the road. This is so to that effect. But it's not worth very much. I mean, it's mildly interesting. I think they made manual versions of these. So
I think they did too.
If it were a manual, then we'd be talking. Now, this car has been around a while, but Volvos of these eras just had awful interiors. Like, I really liked the way they were designed, but the quality of interiors in these is just not good. These turbos are prone to leaking, so you're going to have some maintenance issues. It's 200,000 miles. The engine will last for a long time, but you're going to have a lot of little problems. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's certainly cooler than any other car you're going to get for $4 or $5 grand. But this one just seems worn out. It seems like, all right. Oh, and by the way, the wheels that they have on it are ridiculous. The original wheels that they have snow tires
way
on
better
are
looking.
so much cooler. Yeah, what are you doing? Put the snow tires on some dumb looking aftermarket things. And what is this? I mean, I don't know. Whatever. All
right. So says that this car is at $4,600, but it's on 25 bids. So there could be a late flurry on this. I don't know, JP. I wrote $7,300 last night, but I'm not sure that this car is even going to bring $6,300. So I'm going to say $6,300.
Yeah, man. And it's what 46. When was the last time we had a bid on this thing? Are they bidding on it this morning, or is this all like?
No. There's been no action this morning.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't. Geez, I'm going to go $5 grand.
Okay.
It's not worth enough to ship it from Montana to anywhere in the Northeast where it would be a good car to have.
But you could drive it.
Yeah, you probably could, but you could probably also find something like this near you. I mean, I don't know. It's just
that's true.
I think that, I think they'd do better, frankly, selling this on local Auto Trader or Craigslist or something like that. I mean, I just think that this is a great car from Montana or Idaho or something, but anyone to come from far, you're getting a national audience with Cars and Bids. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Okay, JP, let's jump over to Bring a Trailer, and we're going to look at some Italian pornography. This is a 1962 Alfa Romeo 2000 Spider Touring, and, there is something crazy sexy about an aluminum-bodied, coach-built car. Alfa didn't actually build the panels for these cars. Pininfarina did. Because it's aluminum, they're usually made by hand, and that's sort of what the coach built means these cars weren't like the cars that came from Detroit, where machines pressed together and formed the panels, and then American workers labored to weld it all together. These things are much more artisan, and this particular car employs just a 4-cylinder, JP. This is a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes only 113 horsepower. So this is not like a super sports car. It is a sporty car, but they're not amazing drivers as much as I want them to be. So it's really, really pretty. When I look at these cars, I feel it in like my solar plexus. I ache for them. They're so pretty, and yet I don't pine to own one or drive one. They're just not that great. I'd much rather have a Giulietta, which are kind of shorter wheelbase and rev happier cars that are far superior driving on a back road than these particular coach built cars were. That being said, this is probably the least expensive aluminum hand-built car you can buy out of Italy from the era. And I thought that was worth taking a look at. If this were a Ferrari and had a 12-cylinder in it and it was hand-beaten aluminum from the early 60s, you're talking $1 million easily, depending on what car it might be. And so to see this Alfa sitting at $57,000, this car is offered to us out of Oceanside, California. It is a former award winner. It's been shown at the Quail. It's placed at a concourse in Loyola. It's on a California yellow plate, which is correct to period. Just a really neat example. So what do you think, JP? Do you find yourself going, oh, man, like if I had won the lottery and I had a huge warehouse full of cars, I'd own one? Or do you just, like me, kind of appreciate it for what it is, but you don't crave it?
I got to tell you, it's one of those things that, it's like, what happens when someone wins the lottery? They go out and they buy a brand new Lambo, or they're going to buy a brand new Corvette, and they're going to park it in their double wide until they buy some Garris McMansion somewhere in a neighborhood that's got, that's just stamped out with what do you call it? All those McMansions. So whereas this car, I mean, if you just won that $1 billion and you're, some low class loser and you want to be able to fit in to the new group of people that you're going to be hanging out with, if you show up in, an Aventador, they're going to just be like, Nuvo, lotto money, dork, right?
Right.
This car comes with class. You buy this thing, whatever the price is, buy it. You're going to be instantly classy. You could still have your NASCAR jacket on. You could still have, you could still, you could make all kinds of other faux pas from a, and everyone's, this car takes you from just idiot and moron that has no idea what he's doing to eccentric. You could wear anything, drive this car, and people are gonna be like, wow, that must be someone. That guy must have invented Post-its or something like that.
His grandfather invented dice.
This guy is money, and he just doesn't give an F. That's why he dresses that way, and he's classy, and he can just walk into the country club with his shorts and sneakers and white socks and a San Francisco Niners hat or something like that, and no one would think less of him.
Oh, man.
Big on my good friend
JP. The details on this car,
unbelievable.
Behind the front wheel, those air extractors.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Are they functional? Are they functional? Tell me they're functional.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
Oh, so good.
They're functional. And so are the scoops, the double nostril scoops on the front of the hood of this car. It's really neat. And the funny thing is, they built so few of them that even Pininfarina's version of this car, there might be other ones that have different details because they made it. These cars were so much more expensive than the Giuliettas that they were largely bespoke. Somebody would come in and order the car. This car was likely not purchased off of a showroom floor like we do car business today. This car was ordered, and so Pininfarina probably somehow conveyed to the buyer that was ordering the car, do you want it like this or do you want it like that? We'll make it however you want. It's like we're tailoring a suit for you. And so this particular car has probably some unique flair to it. That mirror that's sitting on the in front of the windshield and not next to the driver, is also a really cool detail that might not be on another one from the same era. So the wire wheels would have been an option. Those bumpers, JP, believe it or not, are probably made out of aluminum and weigh nothing. They're just like,
yeah, but that lotto winner is going, yeah, but I can get a Hellcat and it has the gills too. But they don't go anywhere. They're just plastic. They're just stopped. They don't. This is the automotive equivalent of a lie. Where's this car gonna land? $57,000 seems really, really low for something like this. And I will admit, I'm the trailer park guy, that this car is way too classy for me to know anything about. If I saw this car driving down the road, I would guess that's $1 million car. It has that look. But I mean, it's not even close to six figures right now with 2 hours to go. Where's it going to get?
So, all right. So I'm going to hang myself out here quite a bit on this one. So JP, our car is like the Porsche from yesterday, the little Cabriolet. This car is at 7 bids at $57,000. By all accounts, the value of this car should be in the $130,000 to $140,000 range. I just, again, if I misread the tea leaves, I think this car is going to stall out at $85,000, not hit its reserve, and wind up in Hemmings next week. But if this car does get a late flurry, this car should bring at least $120,000 where it should meet the reserve and sell. And if it brings all the money, then it should get into that $130,000, $140,000 range. So I think there should be a late flurry because this car is on BAT and it is a former award winner and it's in California on a gold plate. So I'm going to say $120,000 and it sells at that price, but it could go 20 grand over my bid and still be worth it. It might stall out at 85,000, and I predicted it will not hit its reserve at that lower number. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours ago, we've obviously seen many just late rallies that have brought almost twice as much as it was 2 hours prior. But have we ever seen something triple in price with less than 2 hours to go?
Right, that's wild, huh? Yeah, I mean, this car would at least have to double in price to meet the reserve. I would think from 57,000, you're talking about at least 114,000 to hit the reserve.
You said what? $120?
120. Yeah, I'm going to say 120 and it sells.
I'm going to say it stalls at 90. I think again, I full on admitting too classy for me to know. But based on the tea leaves and what you're saying, that's just so far to go. There's only 7 bids.
Right.
There has to be a bunch of people sitting around on a Tuesday waiting to buy this thing, but maybe there is.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna guess snowing. 90, and
it's snowing in Las Vegas. Nobody's at Topgolf. You know what I mean? So
true. Yeah, they have time to look for cars. All right, last car of the day, and this one's a doozy.
Yeah.
Yep. For the record, we nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. Not necessarily the best.
Yeah, and my Essentia water represents the pendulum, and from the classiest car on Bring a Trailer to the trailer parkiest car on Bring a Trailer. JP has selected for us.
Yeah, make sure you point out that I'm the one that put this out there because yes, in fact, I am the one that picks the most interesting cars. Classy cars over there. Interesting stuff. That's where you're gonna find. I'm your guy.
1999 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe 6-speed. I don't know what.
But this is not a Mark 1. This is not just a Mark 1 996. We're not pooping. We're not turd nerding on Mark 1s.
JP would be quick to point out you don't have to worry about the IMS bearing failing in this car. Just worry about the drive shaft in general because this mother sucker is powered by an LS1 Camaro 5.7 liter V8 Camaro motor. This motor came out of a 1998 Camaro. It was shoehorned into this particular Porsche with a kit made by Renegade Motors. If I'm correct, JP, isn't Renegade based in Vegas?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and so they used basically it's a hybrid kit that helps them install the Camaro motor into this. So what it sounds like is that Renegade didn't do this car, but they supplied the parts to make this particular car possible. Offered to us out of Dennis, Massachusetts. It's entirely possible this car was created on the East Coast. 68,000 miles shown on the chassis, but it's a real trail mileage unknown because we don't know how many miles were on the motor. But a 6-speed manual, rear-wheel drive. I mean, this thing is a beast. I'm guessing it doesn't turn left and right as well as a typical Porsche would, but in a straight line, this this thing must be an
Well,
absolute beast.
that's not necessarily fair. What would make you say that? I mean, the LS. Look, I am not an LS swap the world guy like our good friend Sahan.
Yeah.
But I mean, this engine has way more power and is lighter than the M96 engine.
Is it really lighter? And see,
Way lighter. Yeah.
Why is it lighter?
It's an aluminum block, man. This is an aluminum engine. This thing is short and has all the power, and that's why everyone loves the LS swap stuff, because they don't weigh anything and they're exceptionally reliable. When you're looking at something like a Mark 1 996, if the engine goes, that is a $20-something thousand or more rebuild, and you're talking about a Mark 1 996s just aren't worth 20 grand. So there's a point where it almost makes sense financially to say, all right, well, let's LS swap it. And guys like Renegade have made kits to make that happen. But honestly, you start looking at how much work and how much time you got to do to make these cars LS swap. The price delta isn't really that much. It's like, well, okay, now I have a car. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly not advocating to do this.
Yeah, it's amazing to me to think that this is going to be more power, more torque, and lighter weight, and might not kill the handling of this car like I would just naturally suspect a V8 would or could or should. And it's why Renegade is in business, and so many of these cars are getting hacked up. It breaks my heart, and it's got to be the weirdest thing to have a 996 911 pull up next to you. Imagine this, JP, on a lightweight flywheel with a lumpy idle sitting next to you at a red light, where you look over at a 911 and it's going rub 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 rub. That's like having a Rottweiler jump up on your chest and go meow meow meow. I mean, it's just like what. So I get it, kind of, but I don't want one. I really don't. I'd rather have that Alfa, and I'm not big on that Alfa.
Oh, well, I mean, the Alfa's going to be worth $20. What do you mean you'd rather have the
Right,
the Alfa is a $100,000 car. This is not.
But that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking, JP, when you and I look at these cars, you have to understand, I always think about them as a driver. We'll talk about their collectability, but for me, when I say whether or not I want a car, I only want cars I can drive. That to me is everything.
I think you'd be shocked how good some of these drive. I have driven some LS swap cars and was like, what? I drove recently an LS swapped G-body Targa. And that thing was so absurdly fun. Terrifying, but fun. It's weird to have 400-something horsepower in naturally aspirated 4-power in the back of a 911. Something like this, I mean, if you're going to do a Mark 1 996, I mean, I'm a fan of 996s, but I just still can't get into Mark 1s. This one would be a good time.
So my friend Dennis Berkheimer has a 1973 911S that has Carrera flares bolted on and a ducktail spoiler, so it looks like a Carrera RS. It's in an aubergine, like a purple burgundy color, and it's absolutely beautiful. A guy named Lem, and forgive me, Lem, I cannot remember your last name to save my life. Lem put a Chevy 350 in that car back in like 1974 or 1975. And Dennis has owned that car probably the last 15, 20 years. But Lem did that car, and Lem is in what is it now? I'm going to try to say this correctly. It's in California. It's like the Sports Car Hall of Fame. Like he's like an old hot rod drag racer, circle track racer, whatever. He's a legend in California, and he built that car himself in period. And it's just a really cool car. That car does not turn left and right, but man, does it go fast in a straight line. And it is so cool to see what looks like a 73 RS with a Chevy 350 hanging out of the back of it. It's hilarious. And it is technically, they say it doesn't, it's kind of lighter or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just bizarre.
Well, what do you think this thing's going to sell for? It's only got 13 bids, got 2 hours to go. It looks like crap.
With all the work that would go into that, it's shocking to me that it's just sitting at $14,000. I wrote 23,000, but it doesn't look like it's going to get there. So I just want to protect my bid. So $15,000 is where it's sitting on 13 bids. A late flurry is going to bring it to I don't know, JP. Is it going to make 20 grand? I'm going to say 20,000, and I don't feel good about my bid because I know you're going to go under me.
Yeah, I definitely am. If this thing makes 18, I'll be surprised. It's another $3,000 from where it's at. It's there's a certain person that wants this, but you start getting into that money, there's a whole bunch of other options that aren't weird, and this is just a straight up weird car. Here's the thing, guys. That's what we do every day. We make predictions about the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids and bring a trailer, and this is definitely an interesting one, not just because we like the car, but it definitely is a conversation. It's like, where do you land when it comes to originality, and does a Porsche have to have a Porsche engine in it? You start modding stuff.
Right.
Where do that is such a personal thing, and we've got great people that comment on our videos, like Old School. Thanks for being a fan. We really appreciate you and always commenting, and we'd like to hear what you guys think of these cars, and tell us what you think of our opinions. Are we complete numbskulls? I would say yes, we are, but maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Maybe you think we actually know a thing or two. I don't know. But we want to hear from you, so let us know. Tell us the cars that you'd like us to review in the future. We really want to include the audience in this process and in determining what are the most interesting cars on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so. Hit that notification, like, and share this video. Michael Deeb, that's the end of another Bid Nerds.
All right, man. Thanks, buddy. I think we did it.
I think we made it to the end of another one. We will see you tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of Bid Nerds. That's the weekly, not weekly, it's daily, every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday, the most interesting cars on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out.